Alrighty, people, you guys are tuning in or watching another Nomadic Cole video for your guys' entertainment. Be sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, share, and of course subscribe if you hadn't had the chance to already. Guys, this is going to be a new stream. So, guys, we were going to do the live stream debate. I've been hyping this up all week, basically trying to get people to get excited, get tuned in, get everything going, and what pretty much ended up happening, I think, is what a lot of people expected would happen, and a lot of people were telling me that would happen beforehand, is I'm now just sitting in the debate chat of the Discord server, basically by myself. I'm basically just in here by myself on the debate chat in this Discord server because, sadly, my debate opponent did not show up. I think they just... I don't know if it's just an act of cowardice or what it is. Maybe a conflict in schedule. I said I can buy them at most 30 minutes, but I've given the time over and over again. It is now 1:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it is dead in this server. It is dead. I tried to contact with the invite back to my server, to the debate chat to Dexter Midnight, and I will show it up on the screen in just a second. I tried to give him an invite, and then I got a ping back, and I have a glimmer of hope. I'm like, hey, maybe he actually remembered last minute, and then I looked, and well, it was just look at this. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I gotta screen share this. So yeah, it's just Clyde. It's just Clyde from Discord support team. Your message could not be delivered. This is usually because you don't share a server with the recipient, or the recipient is only accepting direct messages from friends. You can see the full list of reasons here at Discord support staff, which will do absolutely nothing to take you to the Discord support staff page. I tried to text him yo not long ago. I've texted him yo like 4 or 5 times before. This is last night, or actually this is this morning. Actually, not last night. This morning, I texted him yo again. I got taken down because it didn't go through. Yesterday, I texted him yo. Earlier in the week, nothing. And now I sent this link to my server, a little link to my server, hoping that he would unblock me. And I told him the rules. I told him the rules. So note. Coward. Yeah, your note is now coward because you don't want to defeat, bro. I don't know how you can hold a position so vehemently and then not, when given the opportunity to make some content, you won't defend yourself. Yeah, let's stop screen sharing here. Hopefully, Rex's Prime will end up joining the chat. I think he might be busy, probably working on his book or something, or maybe he has personal stuff going on, but I did tell him the time too, and he would be here, so maybe not. We'll just have to see. But yeah, so far I don't think anybody is going to be joining right now for the time being, and it's kind of sad. With this debate, we were all hyped up. People were getting excited. I mean, all 100% of you guys said, yes, I want to see a debate. People were getting happy. People were, like, oh, wow, we're actually going to get some interesting content again. People like the debate, so I wanted to do another debate. And Dexter Midnight did not give you guys the content that you guys wanted. He decided to run away and hide, and I don't know, man. But he's not holding up his end of the bargain, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, guys. It's really sad. Really disappointing, guys. Such disappointing news. Just to know that still blocked by Dexter Midnight. He will refuse to actually do something. Instead, he's just he won't defend his own talking points. He won't defend his own talking points at all. He's been, sadly, it seemed, this whole drama, guys, if you didn't know, started with him basically just like regurgitating the generic Fox News talking points. Remember a while back we had Dexter Midnight on the stream, and Dexter Midnight on the stream was actually a pretty chill dude back then. He was a nice guy. He did call you guys nerds, but he was joking. So it wasn't like a serious thing. No. Instead, he used to be a libertarian. I don't know where that went wrong, and he just reverted back to generic Fox News conservative talking points. But he had a disagreement with the Israel-Palestine conflict. Do we have somebody in the server? Oh, it's Rexus Prime. What's up, man? Here, let me turn off the lo-fi. Hold on, I gotta get you onto this screen share. We're gonna screen share it. Suppose I might have to add in a new one. Hold on. It's coming up. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with Rexus Prime now. He showed up a little bit late. He was listening to some music, he said.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was just basically filling the people in about the news that basically happened. The whole reason we were supposed to be here was for a live stream debate, and Dexter Midnight obviously refused to show up. I even sent him a link to the server, and it's just Clyde, basically. That's all it was. It was just Clyde pinging me back, saying that the message did not go through.
Clyde.
Yes, the Discord bot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So sorry, it's just that I do know some people that are called Clyde, so I naturally tend to get a bit confused.
Oh, that makes sense. But yeah, basically I was saying this whole drama started because me and him had a disagreement over Israel-Palestine, and instead of trying to talk it out, he went and just decided to block me, leave the server, and then went on his own social media, and he started talking a little bit of shit. Here, let me pull up what he said.
In the stream or
in the comments on YouTube, on my channel.
So that means I'll just go into the YouTube thing and just lower my volume because it's on full volume, but I'll just get onto your stream.
So
okay.
It doesn't feedback. Yeah.
Yep.
Here, let me go into my channel because it was on the meme I posted a little while ago. a short, because I've been doing pretty good with the shorts. If you've seen,
That one.
yeah,
That one. Yep.
the truth
I,
note.
I know about that one. I think I saw some of the comments.
Yeah, he said, "Yeah, you
Yeah,
fell off,
it's
dude."
kind of the yeah, it is kind of the same thing with me, and I'm a man with Topia. If you do not know, he's some 4 foot tall femboy who larps as some Russian, and let's just say 2 days ago we just kind of went at it mainly because, well, he's a communist freak who likes to ignore the fact that the Soviets lost the Afghan war, and of course he actually said that 9/11 was fake, and I was thinking of, you see, there's a reason why we do not exactly like you people, because you like to think that you're smarter just for saying that this event was faked, even though what would actually make you smarter is to actually question it,
Hmm.
and not just fully say that it never happened, because it's like, okay, first you have to question it, but no, you're a fucking moron.
Well, it wasn't fake. It was just a psyop. Psyops have real casualties. Just so you guys know.
Yep.
They have real casualties. All psyops are tragedies. The only difference is that a psyop is when the politicians use said tragedy for a political advantage.
There's a reason why there's a reason why you usually say this. Places such as Katyusha, which, yeah, it has been proven that the Soviets did horrible things there. They used those camps as a psyop just to pin the blame on the Germans back in World War II. Even though let's just say this, even the Soviets were just as guilty in killing the same people that the Germans back in the 1940 did.
Yes, the Mr.
They just
Mustache.
they just basically did psyops and just pinned the blame on the Germans just to make themselves look far more innocent of the very thing that they themselves were guilty of too.
Right. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were definitely guilty of the same crimes. Honestly, the communists and the National Socialists, both of them, pretty much genocided anybody who didn't agree with their regimes. And honestly, yeah, when it comes to debating over the subject with Dexter Midnight, you know, I was hoping that he would show up and we could actually talk this sort of thing out, because, I actually think that there's, some use in actually going in and trying to, you know, talk out these sort of conversations. But
Yeah, but in some cases, some people are just overly propagandized that you can't even speak to them, to the point where it's just not worth it. I know this one guy called Sharp Toaster. Utterly fucking hate him because he's a propagandized fuck. But basically, he said that I was somehow pro-Russian just for simply saying that the whole Ukraine war was gray. Just by simply saying that, no, both sides commit war crimes. Both sides also do good things. War is gray. Nah, war is gray, not black and white. And of course, I tried to get him out of it, but he obviously called me some of a pro-Russian propagandist.
yeah,
So as you can tell, it's like, nope, there's no way to speak with him.
yeah. So I've now renamed the stream to Aftershow with at Mr. Kolovrat instead, because obviously there's no
Yep.
debate anymore. So now we're just going straight to the
Yeah, and apparently
Aftershow
for some odd
section.
reason, yep, and apparently for some odd reason, YouTube doesn't like it if you dare try to tag me.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't let me tag you. It doesn't let me actually at mention you for some reason. I don't know why. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, because I can actually go to your handle and click copy handle, and it won't pop it up. I'm pretty sure that's a sign that you are being
Yeah.
shadow banned.
doesn't surprise me because I do say some shit on my other live streams that does piss off YouTube, and I have been known just for making some content pointing out the entire subtlety of the stuff that they're pushing, like the whole entire wokeness. Like I noticed this in almost every single piece of woke writing. Almost every single deity they choose to vilify is based in either Christianity or at least European folklore, and that is something that I brought up. And who knows? Perhaps that's part of the reason because I've been pointing out the entire subtleties behind how woke writers work.
Right. Yeah, but they won't dare criticize Allah or anything like that. They won't do that. Like that spin a joke for
For
a time.
father socialism, as I like to refer to them, because by when you think about it, communism and socialism are really just Gnostic religions that do believe in their own gods and they do have their own names, but they aren't really spoken. And I did give them names: Father Socialism, Mother Utopia, and Daughter Equality.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I had never looked at them as religions. I've always just considered them ideologies. But I can see how you can get to
Yeah,
that point, especially when a lot of things and a lot of thing about socialism is the eradication of any religiosity at all inside their countries.
yeah, yeah. The entire Gnosticism of socialism is pretty hard just to point out because Karl Marx, he was a materialist, so he did hide it under that. Oh yeah, it is solely materialistic, until you realize that even materialism is also Gnostic, because even that whole entire philosophy believes that the world that we live in isn't even real. Oddly enough, yeah. This whole entire rabbit hole relating to these ideologies goes down and down, deeper and deeper. And if you are like me, how do you not go insane?
Yeah, and the next thing you know, you're schizo posting. I mean, I've already been doing some. If you look at my channel, I've got some schizo posts up in the shorts.
Yep. And yeah, and yeah, to be honest with the whole Dexter Midnight thing, it just doesn't surprise me because I did have one VC with him, and he did say Israel is completely good, or at least from what I can remember. And of course, I was thinking of no, not exactly. Both sides are wrong.
Yeah. Well, you're a pretty neutral guy on top of the conflict, and yeah, I kind of did want to talk a little bit about it because Rexus Prime, it's gotten a whole lot worse. It they
Yes, you've told me about it last night about Iran, and I will say this: why pick a war with Iran? Mainly because they are a nuclear power, same as Israel.
well, if you ask me, I just think this is being pushed by the neocons, and I'm getting all the word is that the neocons are for it. Lindsey Graham, Mike Huckabee, they are really hard line pushing for this war. And I saw Tulsi Gabbard like just yesterday put out a post on her social medias saying that she had went to Hiroshima and Nagasaki and was talking about the devastation of the nuclear bombs there, and was saying that the neocons are trying to lead us into a nuclear war. The thing is about the left that I've noticed is they are getting all because it's Tulsi Gabbard. They are looking for a way to demonize her, and in doing so, they're trying to say, "Oh, but she's talking about Ukraine and Russia, not Israel and Iran." I'm like, why can't she be talking about both? She's referring
Yeah,
to both. That's why it's
and
perfectly
even
vague. And it's
Yeah,
no
like I mean
coincidence
by
that it
these
came out just
people,
now. It's no coincidence it came out just
yeah, and even then, do these people forget that like Iran is like allied with Russia militarily? Which I mean by that's also part of the reason why I do not want us to go to war with Iran, mainly because holy shit, the Mad doctrine has like almost everyone forgotten the Mad doctrine, mutually
JFK
assured
warned us.
destruction.
JFK warned us. Um, Colonel Douglas McGregor warned us 5 years ago that we were going to fight a three-front war, and well, it's getting very close to that because China is becoming very aggressive in the South China Sea. In fact, they've actually started going up towards Guam now, which is with their aircraft carriers and doing testing drills out there, which is not good. They're continuously threatening Taiwan and the Filipinos, and obviously we have the whole microchip trading deal over there, so obviously we'd go to support them. That's not even the least bad of all the wars, though, because obviously there's still the proxy war in Ukraine and Russia, and now Israel and Iran pretty much finished
Yeah, and
the
yeah, and with the
triangle.
and with and with Ukraine, I think you've heard about this with Ukraine launching 400 drones and rockets into Russia, and now Russia it has launched 500 missiles and rockets into Ukraine, and the number is still rising because they're actually trying to overwhelm Ukraine's air defenses so they can start a new offensive, which they already did.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's not really. It's not that they are going to really have this sort of thing where they want to go and fuck.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and the
I lost my
media
on it.
and the media tried to in the and the media tried to vilify Trump just for simply saying, "Don't be surprised if Russia retaliates," and he was right. Russia did retaliate.
Oh yeah, in a big way. And yeah, I don't think that this war is over in Ukraine is anywhere close to being over. That's what I was trying to get at earlier before I lost my train of thought. Thanks for saving me there. Um, but yeah, it's not that this is going to immediately end the war with Russia's actions or with Ukraine's drone strike, but it is a bad sign because it does continue the proxy war. And I was listening to Colonel Douglas McGregor last night while studying for this debate, and Colonel Douglas McGregor said, "Do not be surprised if you see sports cars going all the way back to Kiev with as much money as they can carry possible."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because he's basically referring
Yep.
to Vladimir Zelensky is trying to take his money and leave town.
Yeah. And yeah, and already there are like some resistance groups in the western part of Ukraine, mainly because, well, thanks to what's been going on, the Ukrainian military has been putting people inside of vans, and that's actually causing some bit of resistance among the people because they're now burning those said vans.
Yeah, well, they do have that one guy in Parliament who's pretty outspoken against that. I noticed as well.
Yep, and yeah, and of course I do have to mention this, but almost everyone tries to say that Russia is trying to colonize Ukraine. That is not the case. Here's a little truth about the Ukrainians as an ethnic group. They're really just Poles and Russians. The Western Ukrainians are Poles. The Eastern ones are just Russians. They, as an ethnic group, are just two ethnic groups trying to claim that they are their own, even though they're not.
So it's an ethnic civil war.
Yep.
Yeah, and when I've tried to explain that to the shit libs, they don't understand. They don't comprehend how it is an ethnic civil war because, again, these guys are both
Yeah,
Slavic.
like I mean by like yeah, like I mean by that they don't understand that Ukraine is bi-national, which of course, if you know what the term nation means, it actually refers to an ethnic group, which is why this country, the United States, can't even be called a nation because it's really just made up of 12. Technically, and of course, right now that there are about 34 ethnic groups, I think, in the United States, from natives to the whole Anglo Americans, that being us,
Yeah,
and but yeah, with Ukraine, since it is made up of two nations, the western half being Polish and the eastern half being Russian, it's a bi-national state, but many people do not want to accept that.
yeah. Well, I would say that we are here in America. We're pretty much like the boiling pot is what
The
Ukraine
Austro-Hungarian,
is.
yeah, we're pretty much kind of like the Austro-Hungarian Empire in a way, there were about 12 nations inside that empire, and right now in the United States, if we take a look at the whole cultural aspects of the United States, there are currently 12 nations.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we definitely have probably the most ethnic diversity of any country. I think the problem that we get into with specifically multiculturalism and globalism is that through through the state of Israel, we are trying to essentially force that worldview onto everybody. And we've been trying to do this for the last 20 or 30 years. That's what the whole Iraq war is with. It's just trying to get these Middle Eastern countries to conform with Western values. The only problem is these countries don't even have the fundamental building blocks to support a democracy.
Yep.
And that's why that's why it's just a constant regime change after regime change after regime change, chain reaction
Yeah, this is
ends up in
something that most people
thousands of
can't.
people died.
Yeah, this is something that most people can't even fathom. Places such as Russia, China, and Iran can't even be democracies because they do not share the exact same worldview as us. Like I mean by that, there's a reason why the phrase there's a reason why had this the Western soul is completely different from the Russian one, and the Russian soul and basically, but both the Russian and Western souls cannot understand one another because they have two completely different philosophical, political, religious, and and even geographical worldviews.
Yes, that is very true. Yeah, it's just is completely two different worlds, and honestly, it's very scary that we're always trying to go over there and poke essentially poking the bear being Russia, constantly through our proxy wars. And yeah, Israel really wants America to be involved in yet another what would be another Afghanistan or Iraq war type situation. And don't even get me started. I know that Iran, they do have 60% enrichment of their uranium. They don't have a whole ton of it, but they do have a good amount, enough that they can potentially go and build a civilian power grid off of nuclear energy if they wanted to do so. The fuck?
Hmm? Is the StreamYard or the Restream acting weird?
No, no. They're
I don't know. I'm taking a look at the
they're
live
they
stream
are,
chat. It looks pretty normal.
they're testing the missile defense systems. It looks like they're testing the
Hmm.
missile alert system. Holy fuck! That scared the shit out of me. Holy fuck! Oh man, I thought they were
Yeah.
gonna drop bombs on our heads for a second. It looks like they might be saving that for next week or something.
Yep. But still, I'm just gonna say this: if we ever go to nuclear war, to all the Fallout fans that do say that Fallout has a lot of accuracy, here's the thing: it has some of it, but to be honest, I think we might be heading more towards what a Metro is like. And if you do not know what it is, play the game and then read the novels. But basically, it takes place in the 2030s, 20 years after a war, and yeah, what has happened in that world is utterly horrifying. Yes, places were touched by radiation, some aren't, but they have been touched by the downwind radiation, and some are just complete Edens, but it's all just complete chaos. And I think we might be heading somewhere towards that if we ever go to nuclear war. It'll probably be something more akin to that, but without the weird mysticism of it all.
Yeah, it's a very scary world right now. Like it's terrifying, especially knowing that so many politicians, like in our own Congress and Senate, are just bought by APAC and the military-industrial complex, and that they would actually get money if we did decide to go to war with Iran. Thankfully, I heard that uh, at least Marco Rubio announced that we are not trying to be involved inside this war. I personally believe that is mostly the work of Tulsi Gabbard saving our asses once again and trying to prevent the Iran war, and also Donald Trump's, at least his judgment as far as this war. He doesn't want to start a war. He just he just wants to work out a deal with Iran, and he's still insistent on working out a deal.
Yeah, and even then, Yeah, and even then, we already have problems of our own, mainly relating to the Mexicans, which they're now trying to say that Los Angeles was always theirs. But the thing that they forget is that they are a conquered people, and I mean it. Everything relating to their culture is really in actuality Spanish. They are Spain in the in the continental Americas, but they'll ignore that, trying to claim that Los Angeles was founded by natives.
they
But what they ignore is
Spanish.
that the real founders of the cities were Spaniards, and of course Los Angeles, or at least California, pretty much everything in the western United States. Yes, it was a part of Mexico for 27 years. How long have those territories been a part of the U.S.? 177.
Yes,
That's the thing that most people tend to forget. Most of these Mexican immigrants, they do not want to go back to Mexico because it's terrible. No, they do not want to come back because they are colonists. They view us as a people to be colonized on because they want to rebuild the Mexican empire. That they view anyone who is a Westerner, like you or I, as subhumans, all because we aren't Mexicans.
honestly, I feel like this whole thing with the LA protests and riots is a little overblown, honestly. Yeah, the riot was pretty bad. It wasn't really anything we haven't seen before, considering that I lived through the original George Floyd riots, and those were also pretty bad. It's I feel like, if you ask me, with these riots, I'm telling people I believe they're a psyop to turn us against each other, because people started noticing. A lot of people started noticing
Yeah.
in the last few months, with the starting with the Luigi Mangione situation. For one,
Yep.
with that whole thing, people noticed the pharmaceutical industrial complex. How do you silence the medical health movement? How do you silence Maha? you cause chaos. You have to get headlines talking about something else so they're not talking about Maha anymore. That's why you barely hear headlines about Maha other than New York Times or CNN or MSNBC or one of the other dirt sheets basically demonizing RFK, anything he does because it's related to Trump, calling actual doctors that he's appointed to his cabinets just conspiracy theorists and Joe Rogan podcasters, like basically purposely decredentializing them, not even referring to them as doctor, just calling them conspiracy theorist and Joe Rogan podcasters instead of at least acknowledging.
By the way, with the whole entire conspiracy theory label, that is something that both that I'm a fascist, communist, socialist, and I'm a national socialist did all the way back in the 1920s to the 40s.
Yeah, it's just a means of silencing political opposition by saying, "Oh, it's a conspiracy theory." It's how the National Socialist parties silenced like trade unionists trying to uprise against them, saying, "Oh, they're conspiracy theorists. They think there's elites that are controlling the world," and they laugh at them, and then next thing you know, they were being persecuted.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very dark history, and yeah. Anyways, back to this whole debacle before we got off track with Dexter Midnight. Honestly, like, I wish he would have joined the stream. Like, I wish he would have, because at least we could have talked this thing out. And now we gotta grill him. Like, now we gotta just kind of his position basically. Like, and it's sad to do this, but I said it before. I think he's just cowered it out. He ran and hid. I got my friend over here in the server. Let me come over here. Who posted this meme up here? Dexter's scared of.
Oh yeah, with what
Ian.
Yes, with what he said. Yep, with what Ian Sparks said.
Rip Bozo. Yeah, I think he's right. I mean, and it's sad because I was trying to give him an opportunity to make content, today, and instead he decided to cower it out, and I guess he's just going to go back to making shitty AI or something, because that's all he's been posting recently is these crappy AI videos that are so unoriginal and generic that, like, I don't know. I've heard my
only some AI
only
some AI videos can actually be somewhat good. Like, I mean, I'm friends with Nomadic Cole, and he does do AI on the drawings he makes, and of course, some of them, yeah, they're good. Some do kind of suck, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, like I don't really personally, I don't really actually use AI. But yeah, I mean, yeah, some of Dexter Midnight he had some all right AI art, but yeah, he's had some all right AI art in the past, but now it's just generic. Like, now it's just like cringe levels of generic AI songs, AI car that just looks like some generic Mazda. Like, I was like, what is this? There's a reason this video has 0 likes on it and like almost no views. And the only comments were trolling him.
Let me look up Heiser's song, because even he makes AI music, but at least it's good. Like, I'm currently looking it up right now.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
here it is.
really like AI at all. I don't trust it.
Yeah, even I don't trust it either, but still, here's his song. It is actually kind of good, despite it being AI.
I am here.
Like, I just posted it in the general chat.
I'll have to listen to it later.
Yep.
Yes, we'll have to listen to it. But yeah, it's like, why are you going to go back to making crappy AI content when you could actually have a discussion and at least have a chance to be treated with some honor and like defend your points or something, even as bad as a take he has, because you said that he just thinks that Israel is unapologetically like good in this war over there in Gaza. I don't think so. I think I've seen too much. I said, they told the people in Rafah a while back. I said they told the people in Rafah to go to Rafah. You'll be safe there. It'll be a refugee safe zone. You can get aid, and there'll be food trucks. And what happened? They dropped a bunker buster because they said there was one Hamas among them. We've seen
Yep.
essentially now planning to actually put the Palestinians in concentration camps. Guys, they told the Palestinians, they're cooping them up and basically in these like single file fences basically, and processing them each through with armed guards, and all just to give them a little bit of food and some first aid. And basically,
Looks like they took some.
The plan is they're actually going to deport them to Libya.
Well, I do have to say, with those camps, if they ever add in ways just to undo them, looks like they took some time into listening, into basically writing down very good notes on their masters back in 1940. Just saying.
Yeah, they and the thing is too, because all these people are, well, they're literally starving. They've been starving for about 3 months now or so. I think it might have been even longer than that. They've been starving for a few months, and this is after the violation by Israel of their ceasefire agreement that was actually going to return all the hostages months ago. Now they have to wait longer for whatever hostages are left. I don't think there's very many alive hostages anymore. I think they're kind of crazy because when we got the last American hostage, that's what it was. It was like one person. I think they're fighting over dead bodies, and it's very sad to see. But Israel basically has been starving these people, and because of them starving these people, they're bum rushing for the food because, well, they're all hungry. Obviously, they've been living in a famine, and when that happens, Israel has started using it as an excuse to shoot at them, saying it's a riot. They went out of control. There was Hamas among them.
Yep.
So yeah, it's very sad, very disturbing. I also saw Fox News guys reported this. So if any of the Fox News conservatives are thinking like, "Oh, this isn't happening. I watch Fox News. Fox News will always tell me the truth." Fox News reported this. They actually reported the war crime that Israel committed against first responders that were going in a convoy towards a basically destroyed Palestinian village, and they were moving in a convoy with emergency and hazard lights on, and the IDF just gunned them down and then dug a mass grave and buried them.
Yep.
Pretending, to try to hide it from the
So they're taking lessons from the Serbs now.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of very more than shady stuff, just blatant war crimes. And this was reported on Fox News of all places. Fox News. The news media that's basically bought and paid for by AIPAC is reporting this.
Yep.
But every now and then,
Yeah.
they leave a crumb of truth in these news. You can watch some dirt sheet media, and every now and then they'll leave a crumb of truth. But if you want to actually watch real news, I suggest you actually do your own research and watch independent media. Use Ground News or something.
Yep.
Because you can't get good information by watching CNN or Fox or MSNBC. Honestly, you just really can't. That's why I call them dirt sheets.
Yeah, there's a reason why we just call them the lame stream.
Yeah. Handcuff is actually in the chat, guys. I did not put the chat overlay up. I apologize. Handcuff is in the chat. He said,
hello, Handcuff.
yeah. He says, yo, tell Rexus I said hi. To be honest, I don't support the Israel-Hamas war. It's not really a war, bro. It's an ethnic cleansing at this point. But yeah, I don't support it either. Cole, did you hear about Israel catching and deporting Greta Thunberg? You know what? Honestly, I'm not even a fan of Greta Thunberg. I'm not a fan of her politics, but I'll give her credit where it's due. That took fucking balls.
But it's still funny.
That little conundrum took some fucking balls. And I think if she wasn't famous, I don't think those people on the boat would have survived.
Yep.
Not that she would have done much. I mean, any goodies that she had on that boat would have probably been overrun by starving Palestinians if they even made landfall. But basically what happened is Israel ended up intercepting them, kidnapping them in international waters, taking them back to Israel, attempting to indoctrinate them, and then when they said no, they just deported them.
Yep.
Mainstream media is never honest on more political topics, no matter what side one is politically, in some cases. Yeah, they're really never honest. Look, these are the same people that lied to you about the Iraq war and WMDs there. So they're going to lie to you about Russia. They're going to lie to you about Iran. They're going to lie to you about Israel and Palestine. They're going to lie to you about the Taiwanese war and the India-Pakistan war. They're just going to lie to you so that way they could push their wars, the forever wars, on the American people, so we keep paying them money.
Yeah, and I do want to point this out, and of course even Handcuff pointed it out as well. Like, I mean, by almost every single mainstream media that's been calling Russian soldiers National Socialists, here's the thing. Russian veterans from the 90s have fought members, a part of the, how should I say this, the entire Russian National Socialist Party, the Russian Communist Party, and the Russian National Bolshevik Party. And they're calling them National Socialists, even though those said same soldiers fought those people during the Black October event back in 1993.
I thought it was Ukraine with the Nazi soldiers, the Azov battalion.
Yeah, but it isn't just Azov. There was C-14 and Right Sector, even their National Socialist groups.
Yeah, I thought that they were the
those
National
ones were
Socialists. But you know, the media will just call.
Yeah, those ones.
The media weaponizes the word
Yeah,
at this point just to smear political opposition, though. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like I mean by yes, there are National Socialists in Ukraine, but the whole Western mainstream media likes to project that onto Russia, even though that was all the way back in 1993, back when Russia was having their own problems.
Yeah. I mean,
and of course, even then, they all try to rift on a usage. The only Russian National Socialist group that is in Ukraine, and of course, here's the thing: it's actually a part of Wagner. Not even true Russian army. Yep. And of course, even then, it is only one group in comparison to the actual Ukrainian government.
I mean, but I can't really even blame them for having these National Socialists in their military ranks, because thing is, if you got skinheads in your country, you might as well use them for human meat shields, honestly.
Nah, with them, they just use them because, well, how should I say this? Skinheads, National Socialists, whatever you call them, they are the most radical, and they will die for their own belief. That is actually respectable.
Yeah. I'm just like, they make good foot soldiers because of that.
Yep.
Yeah, they're also that because they're willing to die for their beliefs too. They're also willing to commit war crimes as well because they're usually psychotic.
Yep, it's been very well known that the mainstream media tried to cover it up, but let's just say in Mariupol, when the Russians took it over, they found a hanged woman's corpse with swastikas carved into her body, and that was the Azov group's doing.
Doesn't surprise me at this point. Azov Battalion is very despicable. Very despicable. Yeah, it's
Nah, that would be the NATO battalion. Those guys, yeah, they aren't National Socialists, but what they did do to children is pretty much stomach churning.
yeah. I don't think you could say that on stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, not without YouTube. YouTube trying to cancel again. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm pretty much shadow banned on YouTube again, so
Yeah. Like, dude, there's a reason why I'm basically shadow banned on here too. Like, my channel is, yeah, very much like nobody is even trying to watch right now, other than we had Handcuff pop in. That was it.
and that was for a short moment.
Yeah, that wasn't for too long. So yeah, sadly, we did not. I'm also kind of shadow banned by YouTube as well. My streams don't reach out to that many people as well. So again, if you haven't already, guys, leave a like, leave a comment, share, and subscribe because, guys, it absolutely helps out with the algorithm. With more likes, more subs, and more comments, the YouTube sees that, and sometimes I get a few extra people to tune in afterwards.
Yep, and
Just trying to get the
yeah, to be honest, just talk about just kind of say something about the Dexter Midnight. You fucking gooner. You dirty skinned gooner.
Yeah, bro is definitely a gooner. Like, I know this dude just basically posts like cropped GIF memes and stuff like that. Like, honestly, like,
Yeah, even on YouTube for a time when I showed you his PFP, I pretty much asked you this. This PFP is most likely cropped furry corn, and you said it was.
Said, yes. Yes, it is.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is.
Yep.
And I mean, to be fair, at least he drew that one himself. It's better than.
Yeah, even then, it's still disgusting.
Yeah. So yeah, I know Dexter Midnight. He used to be chill with me. Like, we used to be homies, and in fact, he used to be a
like, I mean, by you guys have been. Yeah, you guys have been friends since the very beginning of your channel.
Pretty much. I mean, we met in former conservative furries channel.
Yep.
We met way back then, and yeah, we were friends for a while. He actually was a libertarian. He actually, so I had talked him initially out of conservatism into supporting RFK, and he went libertarian with me for a while, and then I don't know what happened, but he kind of reverted back to Fox News. I know he's also an atheist too, so I can't give him that excuse of, oh, he's just an evangelical who's been lied to in a church by some pastor who's just trying to take his money. No, he's an atheist, so you'd think that he'd be able to at least think straight about conflicts without religious bias. So I think it's just Fox News propaganda, maybe. I don't know. Either that or
yeah, I know. Like, I mean, but it's actually kind of funny because I the fucking Odinist is actually far more neutral on the war. And if you know the entire history behind the word Odinist, which of course, yes, it now means Norse pagan, but back in the 1920s, it used to refer to National Socialists, mainly referring to his generals, the Austrian painter's generals. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it.
Hmm. Yeah, but didn't the Austrian painter not even want to listen to his generals?
Yeah, well, like I mean by most people tend to ignore the fact that the Austrian painter was really just a Gnostic, not a pagan nor a Christian, but a Gnostic.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't even. I would say he had very weird, sort of esoteric beliefs, honestly, if you ask me. And actually, that actually might be a decent way of saying it. The only thing I would say that wouldn't make him a Gnostic, and I see you using the word Gnostic a lot when referring to these ideologies, is because Gnosticism basically is about gnosis, or gaining secret knowledge. So there's that. But I wouldn't say that he is a Gnostic Christian in the second century sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever I say Gnostic, I'm mainly referring to that. Yes, yes, they do believe in hidden knowledge and they do believe in the whole demiurge, but their way of doing it is just far different from the second century Christian Gnosticism. Like it is in the whole weird Thales kind of sense, which, if you do not know who Thales was, yes, he was the grandfather of philosophy, but his philosophy influenced Hegel. No, wait, his philosophy influenced Plato. Plato influenced Hermann Kant. Hermann Kant influenced Hegel, and Hegel influenced Karl Marx, Giovanni Gentile, the philosophical father of fascism, and of course the entire Austrian painter. Their form of Gnosticism is really more along the lines of Thalesian, as I would describe it, or at least as I would say, because Thales' name is kind of weird to say.
Yeah,
Thalesian, goddamn, it
weird
just sounds weird.
philosophy to pronounce. Yeah. Since we're on the topic of philosophy, I wanted to definitely talk a little bit about the philosophy of actual Zionism, because currently it is obviously deeply intertwined into religion. But before that, it actually used to be pretty much secular.
National, yeah, I am a nationalist ideology.
Yes, or I would more so refer to it as a colonialist or imperialist ideology, actually. Yeah, there is a nationalist ideology behind it, in the sense that the word that when you talk to the word Zion, the term Zion is usually referred throughout history as sort of a returning home of the Jews that had been expelled after Titus Flavius took down the Second Temple. But the thing is that a lot of those people that were expelled didn't make it, but they did pass on their bloodlines and their religion to other people from the West.
Oh yeah, that's the oh yeah, that's the thing that most people tend to forget. The modern day Jews aren't really Semitic. The
Well,
the true Semites would actually be the Arabs and the Syrians. The modern day Jews, they aren't really Semitic. They are more along the lines of Germanic, Slavic, and of course, yes, even Turkic.
yes. Well, I would not say that there's no such thing as Semitic Jews, because there was actually Jews that stayed in ancient Palestine.
Afghanistan.
Not just Afghanistan. There was Jews that during after Titus Flavius took over the Second Temple in 70 AD, right? Um, what happened is a lot of them were expelled, and of course there was a large part of them that were killed as well. But there was also some of them that were taken as slaves, and others that actually fled to Galilee, and those became the Arabs that we know today, as well as Orthodox Christians and even some Jewish people themselves. So there is still a Semitic Jews in real life that still have their bloodlines around today. There are some people whose bloodlines their families went up to Europe and eventually came back after being intermingled, and they do have some Semitic blood. It's just very distant. But yeah, mostly the
Yep.
Ashkenazis, they're from Europe. That is why Bibi Netanyahu's real name isn't Bibi Netanyahu. It's actually Benjamin Milkowski. He's from Poland.
Yep. And with the yep and the Yiddish ones, the Yiddish Jews, their names is a weird mixture of either German, Romanian, or at least even Russian names. Mainly because most of them were German Jews. They did travel to places such as Russia and of course Romania, and of course most of their names they are just pretty much German, Russian, and of course Romanian Jews. That is what the Yiddish are.
And that's where you get the last name
I mean by
a lot of times from.
Yep, and of course with me, even though yes, I found out that my family actually comes from Poland. Even my own family who were Yiddish Jews, yeah, they were Slavic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of history that is often overlooked. People think that the philosophies people think with Zionism is that it's a returning of home or it's returning back to home, but actually what you're doing is you're actually displacing people that were there first. Even in the Torah says that they were there first because they had to literally. It explains it very, very well inside the Old Testament in brutal detail of what happened to the uh, tribes of ancient Canaan. Now they weren't good themselves.
Yeah,
Still, um, it is an ethnic
yeah.
cleansing. I don't
Well,
think it's just.
there was only one element of McCain that is good, and it was carried over into Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and that would be their views on bestiality, or we like to call it nowadays zoophilia. Those people actually hated bestiality.
Hmm. Didn't know that. Yeah, because if you read the Bible, it'll say it's they were just these very immoral people, and that's the justification for why the Jews went and basically ethnically cleansed them and genocided their people and all that stuff. But yeah, that makes sense, especially because the once you get to like Leviticus law, it actually kind of brings up bestiality.
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Yeah, I mean it's just you know we you can't. It's not right. I would say it's not right to just ethnically cleanse the people that have been living in a land since pretty much the dawn of time, and the only difference is they've basically changed from polytheism to monotheism. Um, I some dude infuriated me online earlier because he basically was insinuating that the Arabs that live in Palestine are essentially second class humans as a justification for his Judean warriors. That made my stomach churn. I just blocked them. I couldn't even. I didn't even want to debate them because you never hear that justification normally with anything else, and then you're seeing war crimes on your phone every single day, and then you have some asshole like this who calls the people committing war crimes Judean warriors taking on the Islamist extremist jihadists.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just it's it's
Yep.
it's very sad to see how propagandized these people are, like Handcup pointed out.
Yeah, and I mean by even the blame kind of extends to the whole Islamists, even their propagandists, because one of them, who was a member in his handcuffed server called Kirk, yeah, I can't exactly finish that part, but it ends with Roach. Even though, yes, it is not really offensive, it is still a slur, and YouTube doesn't exactly like it. But let's just say he said that radical Christianity is worse than radical Islam, which is not true. Because I mean, by it's been proven that radical Islam is worse than radical Christianity.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not really down with any of them being as radical as possible, because I mean, really, like, if we had a country that was ran under like Levitican law, as some people have said, like, that is like basically Sharia law, like very similar, and and uh,
Yep,
and the with the the Jews practice as well with their most extreme branches is also not very good. Of course, they're just, well, we're seeing it happen in Israel and Palestine play out. It's just
yep,
these Abrahamic religions are always at each other's necks. They can't agree on anything, and it's such a difficult situation. I don't think Donald Trump's going to be able to figure it out, honestly. Especially when his,
yeah. To be honest,
his own advisor.
the best thing
Oh, go
to
for it.
do is just to stay away from it.
Yeah, best the best thing is to stay as far away from the Middle East as possible and not to interfere in their any like not just don't interfere in their politics. Honestly, like, that's the best thing we can do. Like, we've had the
We
opportunity
sh-
to get the hell out of the Middle East for a while now. People at home really want us not over there, and yet they keep pushing to have these wars over there.
yep,
Yeah, it's just very bad. We need to. If you ask me, I'd say the best policy that we could try to do would have been to go with, like, basically a Monroe Doctrine, where we stick to our hemisphere and the Pacific Ocean and focus on trying to economically compete with China, because China is going to be the
yeah,
next empire, like they are already building.
yeah. And even then, I just have to say this with the whole Taiwan thing. All of our internet servers are in there, and I'm thinking of, we have so many empty land in the U.S. that we could honestly build our own internet servers just in case China tries to invade Taiwan.
Yeah, I mean, I do sympathize and support the Taiwanese a bit more than I would with Israel or Ukraine, but I wouldn't support going to war for them. I would support trading with them or selling them weapons if they want that, and I would, yeah, rather have our servers and microchips made in the United States and Silicon Valley rather than in Taiwan.
Yep,
The only reason I support Taiwan is because I saw what China did to the HKers, and I don't want what happened to the Hong Kongers to happen to the innocent people in Taiwan.
yep,
Yeah, because it's just, yeah, but yeah, basically, in order to defend Taiwan from China, it's basically, in order for a Monroe Doctrine to work, it's basically, we're going to have to focus attention on the Pacific and make sure that the allegiances in the Pacific between South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, and the U.S. territory of Guam and Samoa as well will basically be a united wall against Chinese expansion.
yeah, indeed.
It's pretty much the only way it's going to work, because China is actively trying to expand. They're harassing the Filipinos. They're harassing the Taiwanese. They're trying to harass Guam and Japan now, and it's not looking good over there.
They've been trying to harass Japan for a while now.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, what can you say? Their dictator is really trying to push for the expansion of his territory. And you already know what he's doing to the Uyghurs, too.
Yep, and we all know why, because, of the whole Silk Road boat and the Greater China Initiative for 2047.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these countries that you look in geopolitics actually have these greater expansionist projects coming up. So clearly they are setting us up for World War III, and we should not be blind to that. Guys, do not watch Fox News again. Do not watch CNN. Do not watch MSNBC. Watch independent media. Check out Colonel Douglas McGregor. He gives some of the best information on geopolitical events, and he predicted the three-front war way ahead of time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Like, honestly, the only thing I have planned next is that tomorrow I have to go to town anyways, and on my way there, I'm going to have to go past the little No Kings protest that they're going to have or whatever. I don't think it's going to be that bad, honestly. Like, I think it's going to be like a few old people holding signs on the side of the road in front of the post office. So I said, if I want to, I'll probably go on live stream on my phone and I'll interview a couple of them and just see if there's any common ground that we can find at all. Maybe I can.
Yeah, to be honest,
make one of them up.
Yeah, you do live in you do thankfully live in a more rural area that is probably somewhere along the lines of like Alaska, where it's so rural that you can't really afford to damage something.
Yeah, well, it's a small town basically, and yeah, the only people who really live up here are old people, so it's not like I'm not really scared of them. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get me to stop, but I'm going to go in there, and my plan is going to be that I'm going to say that I am a independent journalist, just trying to basically take video and do a couple of short interviews before I head into town, just to do something for a blog. Basically, that's going to be my guys.
Yep.
And yeah, and then I'll ask some hard questions. I think my plan going in, my talking point is going to be, look, you guys say Donald Trump is a king. I think that, a lot of his actions, there's a lot of actions that he does I disagree with. There's some stuff that I somewhat support, but it's not everything. And I honestly want to say that, I don't think the Democratic Party is that much better than what Donald Trump is doing, considering it seems like every 4 years we have to help elect a new oligarch within the two-party system, considering what they did to Bernie Sanders with the super PACs and what they did to Andrew Yang and Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson and others. They're not as good either. And just look what they're talking about with the Israel-Palestine conflict. There's only one senator who actually say anything about the ethnic cleansing, and that's Bernie Sanders, who's really not a Democrat, but he's an independent. So if you ask me, the best way to go forward is actually to become independent, look at both parties and say, maybe these aren't exactly this isn't the way forward. We need something new. We need something fresh. Because Donald Trump, he's not a king. He's not a fascist. He's not a populist either. He's not Jesus Christ, and he's definitely not the Antichrist. He's just an oligarch, and you're in the way.
Yep.
That's what I would probably say, something along the lines of them too, of that to them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they'll take it well. They might just yell at me. And honestly, if they yell at me, then it just shows It should show the world on live stream if they just yell at me or refuse to talk to me. It should show the world that these people actually don't care about free speech, but instead they're just virtue signaling, and they're just as brainwashed as any Republican or anything. They're just all up in their echo chamber, basically.
Yep.
And if they have open debate, then maybe I have a little bit of faith in humanity. I don't know. But I'll keep it up front with them. I say I will never support the Democratic Party after seeing what they've done the last 3 election cycles to their political opposition, considering that they used $1 billion super PAC to actually censor third-party candidates last election cycle, and considering what they did both during COVID-19 and also their silence on the Israel-Palestine conflict, I can't support them.
Same as their silence on what was actually going on with Ukraine, and with their silence on the border as well.
Yeah, and isn't this No Kings protest paid for by like some technocrat?
Pretty much by a lot of companies from even the whole entire Bernie Sanders organization.
Well, I know they're I don't think it's as much Bernie Sanders, but it's more so AOC actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, AOC. Yeah, there's No Kings protest. There's this one guy, I forget what his name is. The big donor.
Yeah, to be honest, what I find to be so weird about the whole No Kings protest is that, one, why the fuck is there one in Africa?
I don't fucking know, man. I don't know who the hell it is. But
like, I mean, by who the fuck is protesting in the middle of bumfuck nowhere Africa?
I don't know. Maybe people who are mad that there's not USAID to give them free food or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was this one guy. I have to research it again, but I'll keep it in my back pocket. I'll bring it up if they're trying to get really mad at me. I'll say, "Hey, aren't you guys paid for by this one guy, this technocrat?"
Yep.
Like, how is this grassroots? You guys are getting paid for by this technocrat. At least when I was protesting, I was doing it voluntarily. I wasn't getting paid. But, now they have paid protesters and paid agitators. So we'll see how this shit goes. I'm only going to be there for like 20 minutes, and I do some tai chi, and I have my pepper spray on my person. So if they try some funny business, I'm ready for them.
Yep.
Yeah, basically that's my plans. Sorry about not having Dexter Midnight on stream. Very disappointing. Very disappointed in him. Very cowardly.
Yeah, but to be honest, it doesn't surprise me, because I mean, by what do you expect from a brainwashed dumbass?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's just been brainwashed. I don't know, man. He almost woke up. I'm telling you, like, I swear to God, like, he was a libertarian like 9 months ago. He woke up. He was on the way to enlightenment, and then he just went, "Whoop! I'm going back."
Yeah, to be honest, like, I mean, by I think he chose the way of being the quote unquote purple pill. So someone who's trying to be awake, but they're not really awake. Something like that. Like, I mean, by yes, the red pill is full of stupid people who pretty much say fuck you to the philosophy of it, because it's meant to tell you this: hey, the world isn't as it seems.
Yeah, I just think he was for a while like a libertarian, and then I think there was a minute when he was basically like just went back to like centrism, and then reverted back to to conservatism, not Christianity. I'm pretty sure he's still an atheist, but yeah, he
Yeah, he's an atheist. Like, I mean, by most Christians, they do tend to shame the whole gagoonery stuff. Anyway,
yeah he's definitely a gooner as well. So there's that as well. Like if you look at his page, yeah, gooner.
yep.
Yeah, he's definitely a gooner, and yeah, he's. What else can I say? Like, there's really not much else to say about him. I'm not gonna sit here and like bury his character or anything, but I will say that he's a gooner, and it's kind of cowardly that he did this. I don't support Zionism at all. I'm staunchly anti-Zionist, and I disagree with him completely. And I don't think he's a libertarian. I think, at closest, he probably is a technocrat, considering he loves AI for some reason. So that's what would.
Probably because it can help him make his stuff even quicker. Like, I mean, by that is pretty much most of the reason why people use AI. It can help you make stuff in a really quick process.
Hmm. Yeah, the problem is you just don't get anything quality out of it. You just get crap, randomly generated
Yep,
crap. So
slop.
yeah, basically slop. I mean, but don't give it a few years. He'll probably be one of those guys that's going to be watching like AI porn with like a VR headset glued to his face or something. Like honestly,
Wait until you hear about the cyber brothels.
ugh, that's an actual thing.
Yeah, those things. Yeah, those are an actual thing. That there are actual cyber brothels in Germany making robots that are specifically made for sex. Now, of course, the whole German. Now, of course, the German feminists try to get rid of it, and they all try to justify it under the whole quote unquote PDF stuff. Here's the thing. They don't really give a fuck about PDF-ophilia. The only reason why they actually wanted it banned was due to one thing. They were losing attention from the very men they pretty much treated as subhumans just for simply being men.
Yeah, that's kind of the conundrum that the feminazis fell into. Yeah, there was a feminazi I was talking to on social media a while ago who said basically that it's inhumane to watch porn. I'm like, even if it's hentai, like which shouldn't be exploiting anybody because it's just an artist on commission drawing consensual adults. And they're like, yeah, even if it's hentai. I'm like, why? No answer.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They think their whole thing is they're just really mad and probably sexually frustrated. Honestly, uh, they need some help. They need help, just like that guy, Uncle BJ. If you heard me ranting about that guy, he Uncle BJ has basically now been arrested 3 times. He got arrested recently for violating his restraining order against his mother, um, for basically threatening her. So the judge gave him an extended restraining order, and he broke that and got arrested again. And now he's crying on social media saying that he needs the best RICO lawyer in the world. Yeah, it's crazy. It's it's crazy. And then I don't know if you saw one of my posts, but one of the Uncle BJ stands was really mad at me and was trying to blow up my comments and was threatening that he's gonna find me and beat me up and all this stuff. I'm like, you're just as crazy as Uncle BJ, aren't you?
You want to know one thing about the people who usually tend to threaten the violence? Let's just say this. I'm a gimp. Pretty much 140 pounds. most of those people who usually tend to say that shit are like 90 pounds.
Bruh.
I am far more heavier than them, and I am more likely just to crush them with my own 140-pound gimp body than them.
I don't know, man. I think they're just. It sounded to me like they're tweaker because they said that they had like tweaker friends, and I was like, oh, you're gonna hide behind your meth head friends and send them after me instead of actually, coming out and fighting like a man. And yeah, eventually I just ended up reporting him for terroristic threatening and blocking him on by using hide user.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get my fucking comment section blown up by some crazy tweaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like with my Cusco, that one asshole who constantly pretty much harasses me over my paganism, despite the fact that he himself is an atheist. So you would think that he wouldn't give a single flying fuck, but it's like you aren't even worth the time and day just to let you blow up my comment sections and let me be boosted in the algorithm, because it's like I've dealt with you before, and I'm not going to deal with you again.
Yeah. I'm so tired of religious arguments all the time. Like, can we just leave people alone with their religion and just let them kind of just do whatever works for them? Because not everybody speaks the same spiritual language, honestly. Like, you're a Norse pagan, right? I've got
Yeah.
most of my family is evangelical. My mother was almost Jehovah's Witness and then went back to just regular evangelical Christianity. Yeah, most of my family is evangelicals, and look, I don't hate evangelicals. I just don't agree with their theology or ideals. I have basically like an honorary grandma, like a grand aunt who's Catholic. I have
With me,
atheists in my family.
with this one guy, there was this one old man I knew of, very sweet. He was Mormon. And now of course he did sadly pass away, but he was a Mormon. And of course, with my friends list, it is a weird mixture between Catholic, Protestant, and Muslim.
Yeah, I wonder how that works. That's interesting. That's like their whole
Yeah,
family dynamic.
oddly enough, those guys are actually chill with one another, mainly because of one thing. I do not choose people who actively hate each other, because let's just say this: if you have one community, and it's made up of two, furries and anti-furries, make sure to keep them both away from one another. There's a reason why I'm just mainly sticking to the anti-furries of my audience, mainly because, one, they are loyal as hell. Two, they are not crazy loony leftists. And three, let's just say gatekeeping does actually keep your community from falling into chaos.
Yeah, because MGTOW is at least better as far as, especially when it comes to the degeneracy stuff. Than,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oddly enough,
I would say
MGTOW,
that is kind of an
from what you kind of, yeah. Oddly enough, with the whole MGTOW thing, from what you told me about the whole no FAP thing, it turns out that was actually kind of wrong. The MGTOWs actually do not care if you FAP, as long as you aren't an addict, they won't care. Because it is literally in their name. Go your own way.
Yeah, I just remember that a lot of the no FAP culture and the MGTOW culture, as well as incel culture, like there was definitely connections because people would hang out in each of those three communities. So that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Wasn't saying
But
that
yeah, with the MGTOWs, even they
no FAP is MGTOW
like, I mean,
or anything like that. I was just saying that they have relation.
yeah. but still, yeah, like I mean by oddly enough, despite what most people don't realize, MGTOW does not pin the blame on women. Actually, they actually pin the blame on the culture because, well, such as they say, and of course it is true, women are natural followers, and of course, many times time has proven it. Women are more likely just to fall for bullshit than men. So of course, who is the one who have been drip feeding women did this whole entire bullshit all along? Why, obviously, the culture, the cultural zeitgeist, the establishment, you name it. So MGTOW's actually pinned most of the blame on the cultural zeitgeist and the establishment.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I know you guys over in the MGTOW community are big with the big with talking about the cultural zeitgeist. Um, Incel obviously blames it on the woman, and then you've got the no fat people who mostly blame the porn industry, which is part of the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, well, like I mean, but yeah, the entire cultural, yeah, the whole corn thing, it does contribute to it, but it's like, well, there's one way how to restrict it because I mean by I know a guy, he's called Batty, his name is Batty Commander, and he does occasionally fap, but the reason why he does it occasionally is due to one thing. He has a hard working labor job. Well, like he actually takes time into doing lumbering, and this guy he's like 59 years old and is still pretty much an entire fucking unit when it comes down to strength. Yeah, he does not look strong as he once did, but he's still a fucking unit.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I've seen some really buff old guys. I mean, just look at RFK.
Yep,
So you could still be buff and be old, man. Like I believe you.
yep,
Yeah,
yep. Like me, by with him, yeah, he does have that old man belly, but he is actually trying to make sure to just get rid of it, which good for.
good for him. Yeah, good for him. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything else that much to talk about. Hopefully, this stream doesn't get canceled by YouTube again.
Too long.
No, I just think that I think we
Yeah,
went over a lot of different topics that YouTube might not like very much, honestly. Um,
yeah,
a lot of future.
including something such as MGTOW. Because I mean, by let's just say this, two of the most influential people in that community, Hammerhand and Undead Chronic, they were actually labeled as white supremacists by British Parliament.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they actually they actually pissed off British Parliament so much to the point that they were labeled as that.
Well, I guess we won't be. I guess we won't be getting many views from the British, will we?
Yep.
Alrighty, man. I have to go. So thanks for coming in and tuning in.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
Um, I don't have much, but besides the fact that yeah, it is disappointing that Dexter did not come just to debate. But then again, it was probably a good thing because I mean by when it comes down to something as that, and with him being pretty much an entire unmoving stone when it comes down to his views, I think it was a good thing that he did not join, or else the whole thing would have gotten fiery, and a slur would have been thrown at like one another. Probably the R word. Probably the R word that just ends with a tard. Yeah, I know you can't say it on YouTube because fuck YouTube.
Because Susan Wojak, that's why. Yeah, I don't know. It might have gotten fiery.
Yep.
I was gonna try to keep it civil. Yeah, definitely sad that I didn't join. Sad at all, very sad indeed. But at least we know this guy. He's a grifter and a shill, honestly. So he's he's
Yep.
not doing he's not gonna come on. He's not gonna defend his points. And I invited him on. Tried to be cordial with him. Tried to give him some leeway and some heads up beforehand. Told him, hey, use this as an opportunity to make some content if you want. And he didn't come through. So yeah, very sad, but hey, at least we got a good conversation out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, not Dexter. Rexus Prime was just thinking about Dexter not being in the stream. But all right, Rexus Prime, good to have you on the
Yeah.
stream. Thank you for tuning in and
Yep.
watching. This has been the Nomadic Cole.
Yep. And
Oh, go for it.
yep. I don't know. I do want to talk to you about something a bit in the whole backstage, but I want to talk about it not on stream because I do want it to be a surprise if it ever comes out.
Got it. Already. Yep. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in and listening and watching. This is the Nomadic Cole signing off. Let me